Hey, on today's episode, we are reconvening to discuss the results of our summer movie wager from the year 2023. Then, for our case, is it okay to end a board game early if you have somewhere to be? Stay tuned for our verdicts. What you are listening to is real. The parties involved are not cool. They are actual geeks with a case pending in the court of public opinion. The party's case has been dismissed, and the dispute will be settled here on our podcast. There will be no lawyers. There will be no witness testimony. The judge's decisions are final.
Hello, I'm Judge Ivan.
I'm Judge Jonathan, and this is Geeks on Trial. Today's case, Premature Game Escalation.
Welcome to Geeks on Trial. This is the podcast where we settle petty disputes between actual geeks over movies, video games, board games, and more. If you'd like to submit your own geeky case for a future episode, you can email us at geeksontrial@gmail.com. You can also support the show over at patreon.com/geeksontrial for just a few bucks a month, and you'll gain early access to both audio and video episodes before they're released to the general public.
Did you read that?
I did.
You don't have your glasses still, though.
Well, they're fake. They're
Okay, I'm just impressed.
they're a plug-in that you can get, and you've never seen me with them in real life.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's true. Well, I've never actually seen you in real life.
We've never met before, which is very weird.
I thought you were both just AI generated.
Hold on.
What the
Who the
hell
hell
was that? Oh, we got a return guest this week from Roll for Crid on the YouTube. It's our resident board game guy and friend, Will.
Yes.
That's his.
Professional guy.
That's
Absolutely.
Excited to be
That's
back.
his business card. Professional guy.
Yeah.
I am also a little bit sad because I'm here because of the topic we're going to continue on, because it's the same topic in essence that I was here before with.
That's true. Yeah,
And
Go on.
maybe not I mean, I guess better than I thought I was going to do back then, but you know.
We'll see. We're gonna get into it. Yeah, you're here not just because we like you,
Right.
but more.
It's
We
quite the
have
opposite,
a reason
actually.
for you to be here, and that reason's kind of sad. Guys,
I don't think so.
the summer's over.
Oh, that is a bit
That's
sad.
sad.
Happy Labor Day, by the way.
Happy
How you guys celebrating?
recording this podcast.
Yeah,
American.
a lot of fun. So if you didn't see our episode at the start of the summer, quick fill-in for you. Every year we take part in something called the Summer Movie Wager, in which we try to predict what the top 10 highest-grossing films of the summer box office will be domestically, so in the United States only. This is something that the guys over at the Film Podcast, the Filmcast, do every year, and you can take part in it. You can't now, but you'll learn about it if you haven't before.
Well,
and
you
do it
can
for next
now
year.
if you have a DeLorean.
You'd be really good at it if you enter your predictions now.
Oh man, how do I keep getting these perfect
I know.
scores? You know,
Just nailing it.
if I had Time Machine, that's what
I
I'd use
know.
it for. Specifically to score a perfect score in the movie Summer Wager.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. So we do have the final results in. Summer's over, so we have our top 10. I guess I will quickly just read the actual top 10, and then we can talk about how we did individually.
Can you just read every movie that came out this summer with a synopsis of the movies?
Yes.
Thank you.
But I'll start with just the top
All
10. In order from number 1, it's Barbie, then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Oppenheimer, Little Mermaid, then Sound of Freedom, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and Elemental at number 10. And then we do have the ones who didn't quite make it, 11 through 13, were Fast X, The Flash, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So I'll just say it right now. Between the three of us, me personally, Jonathan, achieved the highest score.
He cheated.
Not by much, only outdoing Will by 3 points.
And we don't need to go any further than that.
Ivan bringing up the rear. I had 42. Will had 39. Ivan, you ended up with 26 points.
And I actually did research this year, which pisses me off. Usually, like in years past, I've just kind of like winged it. And this year, like,
Well, that's-
I thought my list did well.
research, because I do a little research too, it doesn't always help.
No.
It's sometimes it can hurt you.
Especially when you have
Oh,
knowledge of movies and stuff, and you're like, no, this isn't going to do well. This is going to do poorly. This is going to be no, that screws with you.
No, I went full gut feeling.
So yeah, this is really surprising to me because if you go back and see our first episode about this, Ivan and I had very similar lists, and Will's was the outlier, and we thought that Will was maybe either going to be all the way in last or all the way in first. But it's one of those things where it just worked out that the points were like a little here, a little there, and we ended up closer in score with Ivan a very different place. So not at all what any of us predicted.
No, and but listening to the top 10, the top few, like the top 3 made sense after seeing the movies. It's like, okay.
Sure. Right. Now they do.
Because like who would have thought number 1 was Barbie?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be another like a Hasbro style movie or like a they're just going to make a summer comedy about it. I didn't think it was going to get so much controversy behind it from political parties, and B, I didn't think it was going to be good.
I also think, honestly, this is one of those times because Oppenheimer and Barbie coming out together, they sort of just fed into each other instead of actually taking away each other's.
Well, the
like,
internet
room.
helped that a lot. The meme culture.
Right, but because of that, everyone was so excited about it. Even if you were just going to see one, it made it not more like, oh, hey, new Transformers movie. I remember Transformers. I'm going to go see it. It was now like, oh, it's the whole Barbie thing. It became an event. That's why a lot of people are so excited to go see it, because you're like, it was a reason for you to say, like, well, let's go to the Barbie thing. It's like going to a concert. It's not just, hey, you want to go see a movie?
I will say, I think Barbie helped Oppenheimer more than Oppenheimer helped Barbie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, but I do think that they sort of just kept growing off each other.
Yeah, but
it helped, like,
yes, and also it's something very similar happened.
And this is, by the way, nothing against the movies saying like,
oh, no.
This is why they did well.
Yeah,
you know?
well, yeah,
they're actually good movies.
Yeah, we can talk about that too later. But the same thing happened with Wonder Woman, the summer that came out, and none of us predicted that would be the #1 movie of the summer, and it was. And I think it's what often happens is they don't make that many movies marketed towards women.
Now I'm wondering
And
if
Barbie's
the
was the one.
What about the Wonder Woman sequel?
That didn't come out in theaters or in the summer. So
now I'm wondering if we would have had a friend who's a female
and it was bad.
who was part of this list, if they would have like guessed differently. Like we are 3 men.
Perhaps.
We are living in a male-dominated world. Like, we guessed with, what brains we have, and it's like, okay. Like I even like if the slash film guys are slash film guys, like I wonder if like I want to go online and see if there's like a database of everyone who was in the Summer Movie Wager.
Yeah, they're on this website,
Honestly,
summermoviewager.com. You can see.
I think it would depend actually also on like if they were more of a Jonathan who did research or me of a gut feeling. Like I didn't know who directed it and stuff, so I'm just like, it's a movie about like a toy thing. I like Transformers and stuff, but sometimes they don't do that great. That's one of the reasons why I put it lower. I'm like, it's probably not going to do
Well,
as great.
I knew the
But, like,
director,
if you know,
but like it's
Right.
also like it's the Barbie movie. Like,
yeah, but there's a difference. Like, imagine like the next Transformers movie is announced, and it's directed by
it's like Wes Anderson or something.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, okay,
Yeah, right. She's like an indie director who hasn't had like big blockbuster hits, really.
Right.
I was worried because it was PG-13. I just wasn't sure like who it was for. Like, is it for kids?
Right.
Is it for adults? Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? But fortunately, the good thing is, like, I was so worried at the beginning of the summer because I put it at 10, and I was like, I should have put it at like 7 or 6. And I lucked out because it's so high up that everyone lost the same amount for it. And the same exact thing happened to me and Will with Fast X. both of us put that very high. I put it at 2. You put it at 3, Will, which I
Yep.
knew was a mistake. But because it didn't even make the list, again, it
Right.
hurt all of us
Because it dropped
equally and
everything.
not me more. So
Now-
that was like
I
dumb
think-
luck
What-
that it worked
Do
out
you have
for
the
me.
lists pulled up?
Your worst choices hurt everyone, not just
What
you.
were my top
Yes.
3?
Your top 3, Ivan, were Guardians, Little Mermaid, and Indiana Jones. That's the biggest one that hurt you was Jones, because that was only down
Well,
at 7.
Well, actually, now that brings me back to, Ivan, what you were saying. You're saying, or no, Jonathan, that there aren't a lot of summer movies aimed towards women. What about Little Mermaid?
I guess I think of that more as kids. in
Yeah,
general. But you're right. No, it is partially women.
And
that is
I'll
definitely.
tell you
a
why
demographic.
I aimed that so high, because it had so much controversy and so much press when it originally was announced who was playing Ariel, who was doing, like, it was in the zeitgeist for a long time before the summer that a lot of these movies really weren't.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest shock to me, even more so than Barbie, is that Oppenheimer, which I put at number 8. Ivan also put it at 8. For Will, it was a dark horse. Not only did it crack the top 5, it beat Little Mermaid. or it didn't. Or maybe it didn't. It did beat Little Mermaid. It's at number 4.
It beat Little Mermaid. It beat Indiana Jones. Beat Mission Impossible. Transformers.
For an R-rated 3-hour-long biopic to outdo Little Mermaid, never in my wildest dreams did I think that was possible. That's crazy.
I do feel like this summer was. I mean, there's always been upsets and surprises, but I feel like this summer had a lot of the weirdest ones.
Do we need to talk about Sound of Freedom?
No, but I think it's because the heavy, like, big directors came out this year. Like, I guess I should have aimed higher with Oppenheimer because of who directed it. Like,
But that's the thing. Based on, because as the guy who likes to look up past things, Nolan movies usually made the top 10, but not like past number 6 or 7 at
right.
the highest.
Well, because they're also usually
so there wasn't precedent for it, you know.
they're always a long
Yeah, and
movie. They're always on a weird topic or a historic topic, and yeah.
And, I just put on Dark Horse because I'm like, once again, we're not making what we think would be our top 10 favorite movies.
Right.
I'm like how many people are going to want to see it, especially when you have so many big names coming out.
And yeah,
I mean, I'm still amazed how low some of these are. Like, I'm not even talking about like the Fast X not making their, like the Flash. I'm like, I could sort of see, but Mission Impossible.
yeah.
I'm still honestly in Indiana Jones.
We all thought Mission Impossible would be at 4 or 5, and it ended up at 8 or 9, something like that.
I honestly think, yes, Mission
8.
Impossible movie, it's a big franchise, but I just think it's getting played out. And the same with Indy as well.
Haven't you never seen any of them?
I've seen the first one, I think.
Okay. It's played out. I haven't seen it, but I'm tired of them.
Well, I'm tired of hearing it. Like, bring new movies. I hate, like, multiple sequels. I hate, like, remakes and stuff like that.
Sure. Well, I think Mission Impossible got hurt by Oppenheimer.
Right.
That is, I think, truly what happened, because Oppenheimer came out a week later, and it took the IMAX screens.
Right.
And Mission Impossible is usually very big in IMAX, and that,
Literally.
they just cut its legs out right there. And supposedly Paramount, or I think IMAX, came to Paramount and said, "Hey, you should like delay this a few weeks to get away from Oppenheimer." And they were like, "No, we're not doing
Right.
it. We're putting it here."
And that way...
I'm just happy it made the top 10 at all, because for a while it looked like it wouldn't.
And that way, because
I remember that was like,
yeah.
Oppenheimer was able to stretch out because it had the film, it had, the 70 millimeter, it had IMAX. So, like, I think they were able
was part of the hype.
to last, most of the summer? Like, it's still in theaters.
I think it just left a week or so ago. I think it got like a 4-week run, which is very long for IMAX.
Now, did you happen to look at the numbers before National Cinema Day versus not? Because I know, like, a lot of theaters were sold out that day. If people don't know, National Cinema Day is the $4 ticket day.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. I mean, I remember what they were. I don't think it made a huge dent, because that was only one. That was literally the 3 days before the wager ended.
Right.
Nothing moved around because of that.
now here's my question: what do you think is the lesson we'll learn from how these movies did this year And was the lesson that studios will learn, which usually is not
I
the right
think
one.
personally, you can't learn a lesson in every summer movie wager. Because like, well, it's true though, because like every year
You can't learn.
something weird is going to be thrown into the mix. You know, like if
Right.
Right,
if
I guess-
Oppenheimer wasn't in IMAX and in 70 millimeter, I don't think it would have done as well.
Well, here's my question. Like, Sound of Freedom, which no one had on their list.
No one. I
One
never
of the
heard
things
of
they
it.
had going
Right.
Yeah.
was that they asked people, I think at the end of the movie, as well as just word of mouth kind of things, to pre-buy tickets for other people. Do you think we're going to start seeing other movies being like, hey, do you have a Marvel fan? Buy them a ticket.
Because that movie was very politically based.
Yeah.
And like it had a lot of promotion in the Trump thumper areas, and like that, it's very cult followed, if I could say that. You know, it's very. People were buying it. Like there would be like 4 people in a theater, and it was sold out.
Yeah. I think there may be one or two kind of people trying to copycat that later on, but I think they will only be with movies of that ilk. I don't think it's
Right.
going to be a big studio movie. It's going to be another weirdly political adjacent movie. I mean, to me, the big takeaway is like the obvious answer to your question is the companies will learn, oh, Barbie did well, so we're going to make 80 toy movies.
Right.
Versus, oh, Barbie did well because it was good. That's always the answer. Is like, oh, the movie it did well because it was good. Is usually the case.
Right.
Actually, more it didn't used to be the case. I think it more often is now, which is kind of refreshing. Spider-Man was the other big surprise because for a while it looked like you were going to run away with it, Will, because we didn't. You put it at number 1.
Right. Yeah, it was my golden trophy, and I was just like, oh, I've got this in the bag. Oh, Barbie's doing pretty well.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's getting
moving
better.
It
up.
really looked like that
Oh,
was
no.
going to take it. Yeah, so that was another big one. Overall, feelings about I'm pretty happy with the top 10. I also will say, looking at last year's top 10 of the summer, I think it's worth noting those bottom 3 I mentioned, 11 through 13, that didn't make the top 10. If they had come out and made the same amount of money a year ago, they all would have been in the top 10.
Right.
So overall, what I'm saying is movies this summer did better in the box office.
Well, they did better in the box office,
Oh,
and they were
okay.
just better quality movies. Because even like you're saying, the movies in the bottom 3 or the dark horse, they were usually like, oh, it's the weird summer comedy, or it's the indie film that's in the bottom 3, and now it's like, oh no, we just have more quality films coming out in the summers than in past years.
Well, don't worry. Next summer, from the way things are going, we're going to have a very small pool
Well, next
to
summer
choose
is
from.
It'll be a lot
the summer
easier.
movie puddle.
That's right. But I was most of the movies that I saw on this list, I really enjoyed. Honestly, the only one I think I didn't like was Transformers, and even that was like, it wasn't the worst Transformers.
Now, let me ask each one of you, what was your, let's just say, your top movie this summer? What was the one you liked the most? Be it on the list or not on the list.
I don't think I haven't seen nearly as many, so
Nope.
I feel like
That's fine.
That's
all right.
fine. We just won't take your opinion as seriously.
Because mine, I'll start with mine. Mine would probably be, it's a tie for Oppenheimer and Asteroid City. Those are my top 2 films of the summer. And I actually, it's rare for me to see a lot of movies, but I did see a good amount of movies this summer.
I'm going back to see, did that come out in the summer?
Oh, yeah.
When did the summer start? Just off the top of my head from this list, I'm pretty sure it was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. In fact, I'm pretty confident in saying that that was certainly my favorite movie of the summer. I really liked Oppenheimer a lot, and Barbie as well, and Guardians as well. I had a lot of fun all summer long, and those are the big box office ones. There were some smaller ones I really loved, like Talk to Me. I also loved Ninja Turtles. I had a good summer. But yeah, Spider-Man for me.
I think I'd go with Spider-Man 2 as well as you.
That came out
but that's
years
because
ago, Will. We're talking about this
Yeah.
summer.
No, I just first saw it this summer first time. I even didn't say
Right.
movies that came out this
Okay.
summer. He just said
He
movies
was
saw
watching
this
it
summer.
on his phone in a theater.
You're right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's because I didn't see
Right.
most of these, so I'm on the other end. I did really like Mission Impossible. I actually, I mean, I'm with Jonathan the Transformers one. Also because learning that apparently like almost half the movie was cut in the in the editing.
Yeah.
You know, I could go on the whole thing about the problems I have with that movie, which should piss off a lot of Transformers fans.
And we're gonna do it
So let's
right
not.
now. Go ahead. All right, so you get.
It may be too long, so we probably should cut it short.
Yeah, we'll put up, or at least if you're watching the video version. If not, go over and look at that if you want to see. We'll flash our personal lists on the screen. And next year you can take part and let us know how you did in this wager. But it's always fun. Oh, and I get to decide as.
Don't use your time travel.
Right.
Don't do that. As per our the rules made up by the Filmcast people, as the winner, I get to make the other people watch something.
Oh, yeah. So what is your watch?
And I guess I will say what I've decided now. So I'll tell you, what I kind of really wanted to make you watch, and I was saying to Will the other night, is like, I didn't want to waste it because I'm like, you should just watch this.
I have
on
a
your
feeling
own.
what
I
you're going to
shouldn't
say,
have to
but
use
go
this.
ahead.
It's RRR.
Yep.
Technically now, the rules state that my thing has to be under 3 hours, and I'm not sure if it's with credits, but that movie's like 3 hours and 7 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
I think rounding is fine here. I think that's more like 3 hours, not to be like, go watch the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy on, you know.
But RRR is on Netflix. It's not my preferred version, but it's fine to watch it on Netflix, and it's an incredible movie that everyone should go watch now.
All right. Well, finish our show
Just
first.
Seriously. But the one that I am going to...
You're a little late for that. I just left Netflix.
Too bad there's no other way to watch things. Yeah,
There's no other way. No other way I could possibly
The
watch.
other one, which definitely there's no other way to possibly watch, and is definitely not on Netflix, that I'm actually going to choose is a movie called One Cut of the Dead.
Tell us about it.
That's what I'm going with. It is a Japanese movie. Came out a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, somewhere in that range. And all I will say is it involves zombies. And that is all I'm going to say.
I think I know what this is.
I talked to you about it once, Will, in the past. I know I've told it to you about
You
it.
didn't talk to him about it in the
this is
future?
this is the kind of movie that is best to go in without knowing
anything
about it. It is extremely surprising the direction the movie takes. And that is why I want to use it for this purpose so that I can force you to watch it and you don't have to find it or read a synopsis. I'm just going to give it to you. And
Hold on, I'm
you're gonna
Googling it
watch
right
it. And I encourage anyone at home too who's curious. I will just say it's only 90 minutes. It's super quick. It's extremely fun and funny and very original. It's one of my favorite movies that I saw in the past 5 years.
Wow.
I wish it were readily available on physical media in the United States. It's not, unfortunately, but we'll find ways around that. So
I'm glad you chose something you liked, because I feel like the 3 hour thing, you either choose something you really enjoy or like, I want you all to watch Birdemic.
Right.
No, I'm picking something I want you to see, and also something that I know you won't be watching the normal course of your lives.
Right.
Like RRR, you might decide to put on one night. There's no way you're gonna just like stumble across this.
Now, how did you find it?
Recommended from listening to the film cast. Like how I find most of my movie recommendations.
Do we know what the film cast has to watch?
No, I don't think they've done their episode at this time. They
Okay.
haven't done their sum up. So it'll be, it's always, but it's fine. And we haven't really done this, but we've done the wager before, but we've never really stuck to someone actually deciding on a thing for people to
Well,
watch.
because before it was like, maybe that person gets dinner or lunch, and we're always just like, because
We move on.
with anything, we're not good at making
Right.
decisions.
Now it's recorded. We're being held up.
That's
to it.
true.
All right.
Well, it's going to be more on Ivan, unless you bring me back. Like, all right, we're bringing Will back just to have him talk about the movie and make him watch.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do that. Anyway, but
Thank God.
that's that. We got to get into our case today because we do have a juicy one, but it was too much fun to talk about the movie wager. Today's case comes to us from the internet. You can find a link in our episode description. Our defendant today is Lou. Lou recently attended a board game day with friends wherein they played the game A Distant Plane. This is a war game published by GMT centering around competing visions for the future of Afghanistan. Riveting stuff, I know. Lou does the math ahead of time and estimates that the game shouldn't last much beyond 6 p.m., at which time he's told his wife he'll be heading home. In fact, he seems ready to secure victory right about that time in the game when another friend is threatening to pull it out from under him. And Lou says, listen, I gotta get home. I told my wife I was gonna be home. If you don't let me end the game here, I'm just gonna have to leave anyway. Friend does it anyway, and ends up prolonging the game for potentially another hour or more. Even though it doesn't directly benefit said friend, it simply makes the game go on longer. And Lou says, look, I told you, I gotta go, I gotta leave. And as a result, there are sour feelings because the game had to be cut short. As dual judges, in fact, trial judges here on Geeks on Trial, it's now our job to determine whether Lou knew what he do was too much, or if it was cool for his move to go through.
That was a rhyme.
Technically qualifies as a rhyme.
That's a stamp you're going to have made up. Just there you go.
Yeah.
So first thing I think we should just focus is details. A distant plane is a heavy war game. And I have the BGG page up here because I want people to know the playtime for it. This is the average playtime, and we can talk about what that means and how we view that number, is 180 to 300 minutes.
Yes, according to the case file, Lou said that the short game, which I assume is like a variant in the rule book, should last around 3 hours.
Right.
And he was estimating like an additional 2 or something. Like they started the game at noon. And I think they said eventually it was like it could have gone or was going to like 7:30. It was like pushing it. And he's like, I'm ready to close it. But so yes, this is for people who aren't heavy board gamers might be shocked by that number. Even for heavy board gamers, if you're not a war gamer, that can be a shocking number.
Right, because like have we ever gotten into like the wargaming world?
I never have.
Cthulhu Wars, I think, is the closest we've gone to.
And, like,
Have you never played Axis and Allies, Will?
I have
Never
not,
got roped into that.
No.
Well, this is... I don't know if you would technically define this as a war game. It's like war game adjacent, but Twilight Struggle might be the closest thing Will and I have played to this. It's the same publisher. They publish similar types of games. Right. Historical kind of basis, you know. It's not quite the same, but it's... You know,
adjacent.
It's in that sort of in that genre. Yeah, adjacent.
Because like what is the
sort of
yeah.
The problem is like when I think of Twilight Struggle, you are fighting over territory, but the head-to-head nature, it feels more like a political chess game. When a lot of these war games, the reason they're so long is it's not just do you have area A or I have area B. It's, well, I move in tank units. They have a +3 attack. But you have anti-artillery, you know, like the nitty-gritty is what draws a lot of people to war games.
Right. The minutia.
And like I'm looking at this, and from what I can tell, each player is asymmetrical, meaning they have different kinds of units and different powers. Root might be a bit of an example of this, but Root's so streamlined you don't
Root
think
is
of that
technically
nearly as
a
much.
war game. Yeah, it just disguises itself with how cute it is.
And I guess the only war game that I could think of that we've all played would be like Civ 5.
Civ 5 would be, I think, a much better an analogy. I don't know comparison for us.
Okay.
In terms of just also the analysis and the moves that can take.
Because think about playing Civ 5 IRL, it would take forever. Because like
that's why I don't play it digitally.
It takes forever even on CPUs.
Because like on a computer, I put on like the fast move, I put on stuff like that to like speed it up a little. But like I don't think like what is the longest game in person that we have ever played?
That we have played correctly?
Yes, and that was supposed to take that long.
Arkham Horror, I think.
Arkham Horror. The other one that came to my mind is Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Those can easily take 5 hours.
But like I don't think we've played a game as a group. Like I know you guys played whatever game that was that took like 8 hours.
We're talking about Mage Knight that one time, but because we played it wrong.
Oh, was that? Okay.
Also, I assume we're not talking about campaign games where like, we stop.
Technically, then D&D would be our longest game.
D&D is hundreds of hours long. That game,
but like, I don't think like I don't have the attention span, and like, for like a 5+ hour game all the time. You know, like, and it depends on when we play it and what time. Like, if somebody was like, "Hey, come on over to my house. We're going to be playing a game that's 7 hours long," I'd be like, I have to go to the vet.
But we usually also start our game nights at like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.
Right.
I like this. This is the only game they're playing. It's planned. All the players know the game. They're starting at noon. That's a good.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a difference of let's take out Twilight Imperium because we'd like to, versus, all right, we're playing Twilight Imperium. This game can take up to 13
because
hours.
I would count that as a game night. This is a Twilight Imperium night.
Sure.
Like, this is a you know, and did they say in the case summary that they've played this before, or this was the first go round?
I think most, if not all of them, had played it before.
So then,
I believe there were 4. I assume there were 4 players.
So then going into this game what the consequences may be, and if you have a hard out, you have to be like, maybe I can't come tonight.
Well, I feel like I don't want to get there yet.
Right.
That's like the clincher of this case. I want to beat around this bush more before we get to that meat. All right, folks, we had some minor technical difficulties. We lost a few minutes of the recording, so we're going to try to recover some of our ground. If any of us repeat ourselves, forgive us for that. But Will, you were just introducing a subject that relates to the case that we're going to move on to.
Yeah, I initially had a hard out and I had to leave, but you guys, we had to argue a bit. But one of the elements I think we need to look at here, if we're judging both parties, once again, because of the interruption, I don't know if we said it before, I think we decided on Joe for being the...
Joe is the name. Whether or not any anti-Semitism made it into the final recording, that'll either be funny... Or if it didn't, then you're sitting here like, holy shit, what got cut?
That's really why we had to stop. We had phone calls that we had to make. It was lawsuits.
Yeah, we didn't want to get canceled is all.
We canceled ourselves.
Don't worry, it was all on my part as a Jewish man. Everyone else is in the clear.
I think that made it worse.
No. I'm absolving you, so it's fine. So go ahead with Joe.
Well,
Joe is the other player.
When Joe, in this game, we don't know exactly how it works. We've said that. I know we've repeated that, and we will continue to, because knowing the game can make a difference. Mm-hmm. But it seems that there's these propaganda events or cards that come out that change or affect win condition, and made it so Lou was within like spitting distance of winning.
Right.
From what I read, and also there's an edit, so this changes even Lou's own opinion. But Joe was able to not only stop him from getting that win condition, but it seemed initially Lou thought Joe was doing it just for the sake of prolonging the game. It was not beneficial to Joe reaching win condition outside of stopping other player from winning.
Right.
However, does seem to be that Joe would have been able to have a path to victory. So Joe's move was not simply out of stopping the game or stopping Lou from winning. He was still going from winning, which is what we were talking a little bit about earlier. Your intention, doing moves because you want to win.
Well, I can draw a direct parallel from this to our recent game night where we, for the first time or again, I'll say we were playing Cosmic Encounter, which is, for people at home, a game where you're all different aliens trying to conquer the galaxy, basically. It doesn't matter.
First person to get to 5 territories wins, but it's while there is card playing numbers, there's a lot of, deals, political style gameplay.
And some chaos, some randomness in there. And a couple people, usually when someone is like getting close to that 5 colony mark, that they're about to win, that's when everyone else is going to start saying, well, I got to get in there and try to stop you. And that happened to me. I mean, it'll happen to you if you ever get that close in the game.
To me?
And yeah, to you specifically. And in this game, I was about to win. Maybe it was going to be a joint victory too. I think I invited Danny along with me. I don't remember if that happened at that time.
Yeah, I think so.
And Will had like just enough. He used the perfect power. It just hurt me a little bit to steal that win from me. But just like maybe we're talking about, not necessarily directly help you, but then we get you get into a discussion of, well, is it directly helping you? Because maybe it's not like giving you a point, but you're preventing me from getting one. So
yeah,
in a
well,
way,
and this is the interesting thing because I'm pretty sure if this was in the cut part, you brought up the other analogy of Munchkin. I want to show why, and I do want to bring this up because I think they show why game design, where this is more fair versus it's annoying. In Munchkin, it's first to level 10, and you have to defeat a monster on your turn usually to get to that final level, with the exception of one card. Maybe more, depends on expansions. So it sort of turns out just being a lot of people get to 9, and everyone ruined player A.
Right.
Everyone stops player B, and then player C wins because everyone already spent all their stuff.
Right.
Here, I was actually on the defending side, so by stopping you from winning that battle, I actually got a bunch of really super strong cards, which therefore makes it more likely for me to push ahead. And Cosmic Encounter has tons of weird ways for you to win ahead. And like you even suggested, there are ways for multiple people to negotiate and win together. So it is not nearly as simple.
Right. This game is one of those games where it's like, yeah, there's a rule book, but the rules are basically your character card. Because like it changes drastically of who is on the table at each time.
Right, and I wanted to bring that up, not just because, like, oh, I'm okay for doing that to Jonathan there, but also to point out just how that game mechanic of Cosmic Encounter doesn't feel nearly as, like, king-making. You know, that's one of the ways every board gamer complains about, and I think rightfully so. It's those times where, Ivan, you were mentioning how you don't care about seeing if you can win or not.
Right.
But it sort of does stink if you know you can't win and all you're doing is like, well, I know this move helps Jonathan or this one helps Will. You're not doing it because it's fun.
Right. Well,
like, it's one thing if, like, I'm shifting the board up because it's hilarious.
But then, like, if I know I'm not going to win and it's like, oh, I'm able to help somebody else, I'll go out of my way not to.
Right.
Because that's fun for me.
Yes, but I'm saying, like,
if I can't win, none of y'all bitches are winning.
That's different. Right. That's a whole different thing. But I'm saying, like, literally, your move will either do this person or that person.
Right.
That's when it's not fun. And that's also why, I like it when games have something that makes it so you can't tell, like surprise, hidden ticket value, whatever. But the other thing, I think, keeping with our game night, actually, and this maybe be more relevant.
Yeah.
We were much later than well, maybe not that much later, but we were out, I think it was actually my turn. And then someone realized, oh, wait, my alien powder triggered, and that would have won me the game.
Right.
Right.
And we decided to go with it. Because, one, this is going back. Technically, I had a card in hand. I don't think I had it when his power would have triggered. But it does cancel his power.
Right.
So I could have stopped it there. But because, one, we were 3 hours in, and this is why I want to bring it up for this case. You know, I felt like, well, that's a good one. Two, I couldn't guarantee that I had then. And then also, this is the other thing, which I think comes into it. I think his win was a lot more fun.
Right. Instead of just, I moved up, I win, done. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, like to me, I think you got to go for the win. I'm more than Ivan. I think that's much more important. But I also think there are times in games where throwing it because it's something funny or not doing the most optimal move.
Right.
This is going to be so much more. This is something I will fight on when it comes to campaign legacy games. I think you're more in this camp, Jonathan, where if there's like, well, this might not win the game, but we'll get to open 5 new boxes and get more components.
Right.
I'm going to go for components.
Right, or like even in like a D&D, for example, like, oh, we can get this magic sword which will kill every monster in front of us, or we can open up this cave and explore a whole new room. I'll go for the cave.
Oh, well, role-playing adds a whole other thing, too, of like, I know this enemy is immune to this thing, but my character's backstory, know. So there's this really just comes down to like timing. I think the elements we have to look at is, one, do we think that Joe's play was out of spite versus in the spirit of the game?
Right.
Two, did Lou time things properly based on the kind of game, what was expected at the game, if it's more of a social event, which, like, for our game nights, I'd like to, even when I bring something for review, to me, it's more important that we have us talking, we're laughing, we get drinks. We're not here to do a magic card tournament. That's a whole different story. And even then, to be honest, my best tournament experiences where like playing a game be like, oh, but you know, did you watch that episode of that show? Oh my god, it's so good. Like,
right? Yeah, it's like the older people who are playing dominoes in the park. Like it's a social
Exactly.
experience that you're just chilling.
And this, to me, I will say they don't specify. This feels more social.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the final thing, which I think is already clarified, was did Lou make it clear he had a heart out? I think that one we don't need to give our opinion on. I think that one's a guaranteed. Because I'm like, Lou didn't say anything until like, oh, by the way, guys, I'm about to win. If you like that, I think would have like guaranteed the
yes,
call.
or if it would have just looked like him being a sore loser if he, as soon as he didn't win, he would just then said, "Oh yeah, I have to go." Game over.
Exactly. Right.
By the way, it sounded like he still played after he didn't get the win. I need to double check, but
Oh, maybe. My impression was that he said, "I can't sit here for another hour," but maybe he did. Maybe I'm misremembering.
But
or
also
misread
too,
it.
like if you have in your head that like, okay, after my turn, I'm going to win. You personally are like, or me, for example, like I start winding down. It's like, okay, we
Yeah.
know. I could see on the pad that I am going to win, and the game is over. You start even like you wind down. It's like a movie. Oh, I think this is the ending. I'm gonna get ready to stand up. Oh, it's not the end.
I know what you mean, and I will say that is a little bit of how I felt when I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna win." Mentally and
Right.
emotionally, I started preparing for like, okay, the game's gonna be over. It's been kind of a long game, but we're done. And then when it was like last second, no, there was a part of my soul that was like, guess I still gotta keep trying
Right.
to win.
no, it's sort of funny to me, John. I wasn't even thinking that I was taking the win from you during that
Yeah.
moment. I was thinking because I think partially the problem was the alien I was playing with. Literally, its whole shtick was stopping people from doing stuff.
Right.
So in my head, I'm like,
Yeah.
anything could happen at any moment.
Right. Because
I
literally,
might be the cause of it.
you
That's
and-
like 50%.
Right, you didn't know
Right.
Yeah.
for sure that you were stopping me. You were trying to stop me, but
But no, I get what you're saying, and that's why I'm saying why I brought up Munchkin as an example, actually, because I think in those moments, I know anyone can play anything, but I think I have this one, or, oh, God, someone's going to do it. Cosmic Encounter doesn't give me that nearly as much.
Right, and
I don't
your
know.
side of the table with you and our friend Garrett, you had like the card. Garrett can play 2 cards at a time, and then you were able to be like, "Well, I counteract your card with this card," and then Garrett's like, "Oh, I
I
counteract
pretty
that
much
card."
always have 3 specific counters.
Right.
Like, really specific, but they happen enough.
Like I feel like your 2 characters on that side were more fun than my character. But that's just the draw of the game, which is why I like this game because you can't pick
That's
your
very-
character every time.
Yeah, we're getting to, like, the alien things,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
definitely... Well,
it's very dependent on your personality.
yeah, like
who
I
else
think,
is in the game.
I
That
think
could
they're
go a lot of
strong.
ways.
I think mine is fun in the sense it could be really fun or really mean. It depends on the kind of player because it's just very specific counters. But you can have that guy who's just always too controlling.
But you have to look at it because like you have to take that into account with this war game because like not Lou, what was his name?
Joe.
Joe was
It's
ready to.
Joe.
It's Joe. He was ready to like his storyline was ending. He knew it. And then this other guy was like, "No, we can, cancel that
I
out."
think you got it
Oh,
backwards.
sorry. Yeah, no. Lou
No,
thought
Lou was
the one
he was
playing.
ending the story.
I just keep thinking Jew. I don't know why.
Oh, you cannot say. Come on.
I can. My grandfather. It's fine. It's good.
I'd like to see the birth certificate of that one.
you go.
I don't believe you. Oh no, it's all there. Wow.
Oh, we do video
Yeah, you-
episodes. Oops.
Right.
You love.
Expectations
Kosher delis.
is always if you feel like you're like they can lead to some bad feelings, especially I mean that's why I think some video games people get angry if like there's a secret second stage of a boss or something like, oh, I beat it, and then all of a sudden something weird happens
Right.
and then you see you die.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes, the going against your expectation can hurt. But I would not that all of that is not to say that I feel that in this instance, for example, Will did anything
No.
wrong or impolite or anything.
I also
He played
don't
within
think
the
game.
this was an expectation issue as much. Because he literally, Lou says, like I tell him, he's free to play whatever you want. Just know I cannot be here that much longer.
Yes.
Right.
And that's a big thing. Yeah, it was known from the whole game ahead of time. According to the case file, he told them all, this is my time. I got this out. We all know it. And that it's a tricky thing for me because I typically say if there's even a chance that someone is like, I might not be able to stay for this whole game, my response usually is, then we're not going to play that game.
No, I agree because I learned the hard lesson that way. One of our earlier game nights, I started up Arkham Horror. I'm pretty sure we met. That's still in the cut of how long second edition is.
Right.
I love the game, but it is not a take off the shelf, let's play kind of thing. I mean, we have had a game end in about 10 minutes because someone got devoured. It was like the match, and I brought that up like at late at night one game night. And it didn't go well. And so I've learned, like, if I think, and that's with people, our group does have a more analysis paralysis, just time size. I'm not going to take out a game unless I feel comfortable that things are going to, time-wise, go well for it.
Right.
You got to just assume the worst.
Yeah, for me, it's an issue of, I hate to have a game cut. I would feel so. It's like not getting the last bite of your chocolate bar.
Right.
It's like I'm here to play this game, and yes, of course, it's fun along the way. But ultimately, it's like it's about that. You want to see it through to the end.
Right.
It's like if you have to leave a movie 10 minutes early. Like I want to.
I've done that with Lord of the
thing
Rings.
through.
The first time I saw the first Lord of the Rings movie, a fire alarm went off. So it was literally at the moment where they're like, "Get off the road!" Get off the.
Yeah.
It was just like, no, it was.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
I would rather just not start it.
But he was able to finish this game. Like his win condition, he would be finishing the game.
He could have.
Yeah,
Right,
hypothetically,
correct.
that could be the same thing if you're playing Monopoly. Like, if all you guys surrender to me, we could end this game. Like,
Right.
That's why it goes to if the
Right.
players are acting in the right spirit.
But I don't think like he was ruining the game or like trying to make it end faster. He met his, let's say, his win conditions, whatever they may be.
No, I don't think lose game actions were anything not expected while playing that game.
Right. Like
However,
his character was winning.
In the spirit of playing that game, I don't think Joe was doing anything out of the norm either. He still saw a path to win by taking this move.
But unless, like, you know, he did it to purposely prolong the game, then that's a dick move.
Well, that's why initially like Lou even says in the post, because there's an edit.
Right.
Lou says, why did you do this? This isn't giving me, it's not advancing your win state.
Right.
I think that's but later on he talked to, first of all, Joe did apologize for everything and talked about trying take shorter turns because Lou also talked about Joe tends to take longer turns, which maybe we could talk about in general. That kind of thing. But he says, oh yeah, no, this is how I thought I was going. He literally told him how he thought he could still win. And Lou's like, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
So I'm taking, if you, each of them are seeing from different conditions. Because honestly, the best game, you shouldn't have perfect information.
Right.
So game
That's
maneuver
why chess is shit.
We said it here first, folks.
Some games work that way, but some do it in a lazy way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think, in terms of the playing the moves, that either one was spiteful or negative in the spirit of the game or the group.
I agree.
I think the question is, did the group take the spirit of the game of this game could take, like I said, Board Game Geeks is 300 minutes.
Right.
And I don't think us, or honestly any war gamer, unless they're trying to, maybe tournament play. When, like, Ivan, you were saying earlier, you know, when you no talking tournament, like you said, your first Warhammer, you're going to hit that 300-minute mark, especially if it's a social experience.
Right.
So if you're going to give yourself a time period, like, I mentioned earlier, like, how we take longer time, and I said worst case scenario you should expend. Usually those worst case scenarios, if taking too much time, are still memorable and enjoyable. I think we still are look back on our last game night. The Cosmic Encounter took much longer, but I'd say say it was a good time.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I had a
And
good
our
time.
win condition
sometimes the game goes too
was
long,
great
but-
because it did go out of it just came up out of nowhere, and that's that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. Yes.
So I think, to me, that's the more. I think the game moves on both players' parts, to me, seem in the spirit the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the challenge is, did expectations of timing for this game, of what Lou told his wife, what he told the other players, like
Right.
managing the scheduling is where we're going to find out who is in the guilty party.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
And how
Should we
much you
try-
respect that too. Like, should
Yeah.
you, if someone is in win, like, I think Ivan, you would say, like, Lou is in win shot, does that mean we should stop?
Well, like, if he was able
Because-
to win, then, like,
Right.
he wins.
But he wasn't.
But he was, though. Wasn't like he had.
Lou could win as the only one who could stop him.
Right, yeah.
Like, literally, the only one who could stop him was Joe. It wasn't even
Right.
like other players had anything. Joe was the only one in a position to stop the win.
Well, and then at that
It's
point,
not like Joe changed the rules.
Right.
He did a thing that stopped
but then
him
at
from
that
winning, so he
point,
didn't
is
win.
the other person only trying to extend the game for his own
Right. That I
benefit?
think that's what I'm saying.
But
I
why
think-
isn't that the point of the game, to extend it so that aren't you
Well,
playing to try to win the game?
Depends,
Well,
on,
that's
it depends
why-
on the game
well,
and
that-
how long you were going at it.
that also is why I brought up
Yeah.
the edit.
Right.
But I don't
Initially,
think it's wrong to do that.
according to
Yeah.
Lou,
It depends on the person. Like if
Well,
yeah,
if
well-
as a whole group you guys were like, okay, it's
Yeah.
coming to an end, and then he was kind of like, well, I want to keep playing in spite.
Yeah,
That's
Right,
kind
well-
of a dick move.
I think
it
also
could be. It could be.
like I said, like the edit to this post, I think is also changes a lot. Like if we didn't have that,
Right.
according to Lou, which I would not question obviously because we don't know the game.
But yeah. Or the other
He
people
said
or whatever.
there
yeah.
is no reason this would not put Joe in a more advantageous place to win.
Right.
It'd be like you said, Ivan. The only reason you do that is to prolong the game,
Right.
and not make me win.
Right.
But to our knowledge, and to Lou's knowledge now, Joe did have mechanics that would allow him to win. That isn't just I hope the game goes
Right.
longer and something would appear.
Right.
He actually is like,
You're right. He wasn't just like, well, since I can't win, I just want everyone else to have to sit here. He did think if the game continues, I will have a chance to have a victory.
Right.
That's the
No,
big
yeah,
well,
I
thing.
get
not
that.
only just a chance to have a victory. I think there's a difference, and I think like there's one that leans toward Ivan. Like hypothetically, like Munchkin, if everyone
Yeah.
keeps losing, maybe I'll win. Versus when like what I did to you, Jonathan. If I stop you from winning, I'm getting 4 artifact cards, these super strong cards, which definitely put me in a much better position. And
I just,
you know,
yeah,
I
go
can make a
ahead.
deal with Daddy because I know that player.
Now, the other side of it you can look at is, okay, if these people are all fairly close together, they can do whatever, put a pause on the game, come back tomorrow night, and finish it properly.
That's true. Does the person have cats? Because you cannot save a board game if they have cats.
And how far away is everyone? And do they have a commitment?
I-
And we know
honestly,
how hard it is
yeah.
to
Right.
people to
Yeah,
get.
but
I
I'm saying
won't-
in general.
Reading his timing thing, I couldn't help it because I read like I want to read the exact words. Like I decide 5 hours with some wiggle room is a fair compromise. So I told my wife I'd be home by 6. So I'm like, does that mean you know it takes you an hour to get home? Does that
Right.
mean you gave you like 30 minutes and 30 minutes to get home? Like I couldn't help. That's what I thought. I'm like, because that's a whole other issue. You always forget how much time is taken out from traveling.
Well, and that's also
Yeah.
like
what about helping to put away the game?
my other thing with board games too is like it's not a video game you could hit pause, go do something else, come back, and it's stopped. Where like a board game, like you hit pause, you have to make sure like, okay, 5 other people have the same memory, 5 other people. So
Right.
like that's why like when we do a board game night, it's, you know, I'm expecting to be there till 1 a.m.
No, exactly. Like that was the other thing. Setting up scheduling expectations.
Right.
If you like to, I don't know if this made it or not. Twilight. All the people I know who played Twilight Imperium, the hour on the box is maybe 4 hours or something.
Right.
I don't have the page pulled up. Every time they say like, oh yeah, 11 or 13 hours we set for it.
Oh yeah,
Because
and
that way you have breaks. You don't know if the game's going to run long.
Right.
You just have to assume the huge, much larger time commitment with the exception, even if you know the game.
Right.
In fact, that's worse for the more complicated. Because the more someone knows the game, the more you can't sneak a strategy with me and get that early win.
Right. But like, but also like me personally, that just wouldn't be a game that I would be like, if somebody was like, oh yeah, it's a 4-hour game, it might take 11 hours. I'd be like, I'm good, thank you.
Well, right.
Sure, it's not for everybody.
Well, that's why also like those games too, and it already sounded like they did this, so I don't think it's as much of a point. But like, that's not a let's take off the shelf kind of game. It's the
Right.
I'm prepping for this.
And it doesn't seem like these people have like, oh, this is their first rodeo. Like this is their game night is let's go play this game every week.
Yeah,
it seems like that
right.
kind of
I mean,
style
they said,
of game, and
all I know is that they said that they know the game.
right.
So it's not like they don't tell us like, oh, we've met for years playing this game, so
Right.
I don't know when they say most of us. Oh, actually, no, someone didn't. Most of us have already played the game.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe there's one person who has.
So-
it,
Well, also there's a difference, Jonathan. Most of us have played Earth Reborn here. How many times have you played?
Right.
yeah, but I'm assuming they're all at least war gamers, like they're familiar with
Right.
this level of.
It's rare
Yes,
that you jump into a war game and be like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm
this is my
assuming
first
they're-
one.
Familiar enough, but there's a difference of like, look at pro players. They can go through things much faster because they can make an assumption like, did you top deck that card that does 5 damage? No, all right.
Right. So,
But I want to ask you, Ivan, on the going back to like with Joe's. It sounds like, or are you saying if you're in Joe's position, if Lou's about to win a game, and you have, I'm going to make it very abstract. It's like I have a card that will just stop him from winning. It's not like and I get 5 points. It's just, well, then he can't win. Are you not going to play that card?
it depends on the time in the game. So,
All right,
like,
hold
if
on.
we've been
So-
playing the game for X amount of hours, and in my head I see an end that's coming, and it's like, okay, I'm bored with this game. Yeah, it doesn't need to be. The game can end now. I'm not going to play said card.
Okay.
Because a game. See, I'm different than you guys, which is trying not to sound like an asshole.
Built different.
I don't.
No, I get it. You're better than us.
care.
No, that's
I
usually
I
a
am better
good
than
thing.
you.
You don't want to be similar to me. That's
I don't-
That's the barometer. Most people. The people should hold up a sign like, oh no, I'm too will today.
Like,
I gotta go
little
exercise.
Gaming is not about winning to me. Gaming to me is about like the story. That's why I liked.
Right.
What was the game on the PlayStation?
I think we all agree. There's a balance.
Right.
I think we're all
Where it's like,
agree.
I
of
mean,
course,
yeah, that's-
we are built to win. Like,
Well,
we're
I think that
animals.
the thing is like, look, nothing's ever easy. Almost everything's on a gradient.
Right.
But
Yeah.
from what I can tell, like I think Ivan leans much more towards the experience side versus
Right.
the winning side. I lean more on the winning side.
Right.
And obviously the game could change that value. Certain games we're going to be like, no, this is where I plant my flag, or no, I don't care. I'm having the time of my life.
Right. And
But-
to Jonathan, if I had that card in hand, depends on how long we've been playing or how
In this,
good the story is. Like if it's
Well,
just if it's just we're
Hmm.
going around the table playing, okay, I'm playing card, you're next, card. Like
Yeah, I mean, if it's Munchkin, then
yeah.
I don't blame
Right.
you at all.
yeah, no, I think Ivan, just based on, correct me on this. From what I can tell, let's assuming you're in Joe's position, so it's not just having that card. Let's assume it's at least 3 hours.
right.
Just to make it more comparable to our game night versus, I think it was 5 hours at their point, 5 or 6. So you have that card. We're at the long hour point. We've passed over that line, and it would make it so the game either ends there or you can continue.
Right.
So you would not play it.
There's a lot of things because
There's a lot of variables.
if
Yeah, I know.
if said person
look-
was screwing me over or was like too cocky, yeah, I'll ruin their day. But like,
I'll just say,
good.
yeah.
I
Well,
would say
to
personally,
bring
I
it
don't
ba-
think anyone seems cocky here.
To bring it back to our
Yeah,
specific
sorry.
example, if I were someone else at the table last night, and if I and me, Jonathan, had won the game and Will didn't stop me with that card,
Right.
and then I later found out he could have stopped me and he just decided not to, I think I would have been pissed off. Or at
Really?
least, not pissed off, but I would have been like, oh, why didn't you play that? You could have stopped him. Because I
Yeah,
feel like
no.
in that, I kind of feel a responsibility
Well,
of
yeah.
like, in this type of game, you're almost working as a team. If someone else is about to win, it feels like, well, we can't let him win because one of us might win.
I see where you come, and that's why I said, because I've played games with people where one player decides I'm not going to do moves to win, and I don't even talk about like anything like you mentioned Ivan before. If like you don't see yourself winning, so you're just going to do something to hurt
Right.
someone. We're talking about like, I'm gonna go here because why not? You
I
know,
like
kind
the
of thing.
color red, so I moved
Like
there.
it's not even like haha funny chaos anymore, which you know
Well,
we
that's
can see
also
It's
why
sometimes.
like you're
I
playing
think
with a robot.
I'm
And
more
then
so.
the problem is that ruins.
no,
I
no,
feel like
all at once.
It's a
Sorry.
podcast. We're white guys. We can all talk over each other.
those moments though are like to me sour the game because the game is designed assuming you're at least trying somewhat.
Right.
Well, that's why
Like
I'm more
you're
of a co-op.
hurting you're hurting people thing. To me, still falls under trying, because for all you know, if you hurt someone enough, it actually opens the door for you. We're talking someone like saying like, you know what, Ivan, I'm gonna give you 5 let you colonize all 5 of my planets, and you'd be like, why would you do that in Cosmic Encounter?
Right.
Just cause
Right.
you know, like we're talking, it almost feels like you're spiting the group.
Yeah, it's maybe sounds like there's a real divide of our philosophies, but I don't actually think it's that big.
No.
I don't think,
Yeah, no. That's,
like,
we're talking about like sand grains here.
Well,
I
also
think.
too,
Yeah.
like if it was that big of an issue, we wouldn't have been playing games together for 15 years.
See ya.
So
Yeah, I don't think that you do try to win. It's not like you're
Right.
sitting there and going.
Well, yeah, that's why I
"Nah."
said I don't. The examples I was talking about before of someone ruining the game because they're not playing to win aren't the kinds of moves I see from Ivan.
right.
They're not
Right.
the really Ivan. You do that. Sometimes you do something I'm not expecting.
Unless
like, what are you
maybe
doing?
it's you might do it more if, like you said, if it's like very end of the game and you're just kind of like, I'm done with, like, this will just end
Right.
it.
Oh yeah, no.
or
I'm talking
something.
like mid. Like this is the kind of thing where
Yeah.
you know, like
Or I'll
we
do
have
it if
we
it's
have
funny.
turns. Oh, funny,
Like if
no,
it's
the
going to
funny-
piss someone off and it's going to be a funny pissed off, yeah, I'll do it.
This doesn't even fall under that either. Like it might piss some people off, but it's not the funny way where like when I cancel Jonathan's card or something like, you know what, Jonathan, you're just like, what?
Right.
Because I didn't know it was going to win the game. I just knew it was going to mess with him. But it
Like
turned out
we have
stopped him
a
from winning.
person that we game with, and I'll purposely do things to just break his like mental calculations.
Well, you don't
No,
have to try.
and it does it to me too. But once again, it's not the, like I said, it's not the same thing. It
Right.
throws the game off, but it's not the same thing as you like. Well, I'm just going to give Will $100,
Right.
which
So
is like.
At least Will and I think, are in alignment that we don't blame Joe for anything. Ivan, it sounds like maybe you're a little more split on Joe's action.
If we want to get into verdicts, we can.
Well, because, I mean, Joe is not the one on trial,
Right.
right? There could be, he may or may not be guilty, but that
But
so
wouldn't
may or
Joe
may
get
not
the
be
punishment if
Lou.
Lou's innocent?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe they both will. I
Or
don't know.
maybe the
We'll
other
see.
players. They should have stepped in and said some stuff.
We'll figure that out. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe we should just try to sum it all up at this
Yeah.
point.
So verdicts.
I mean, Will, you're our guest. Do you want to lead?
Sure. And with same hammer.
Jesus Christ, I forgot about that.
If you had a hammer, would you hammer in the morning?
the only way I remember that
Both
quote
of you assume I'm awake then.
is from Will Smith on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's like, if I had a hammer, oh look, I do. It was the only yeah.
That's funny.
Like I said, I think this case was, did they play the game right? And I think both players are past the test there.
Right.
I don't think either of them did anything wrong there. And of course, that's the most important thing to me. So I think it comes down to the timing. And I think this is where it's going to be soft for me. I mean, it depends. I think Lou is guilty. I think the window should have been much bigger. If his wife said you had to be home by 6, he should have told his friends, look, guys, I have a super hard out because this, maybe we shouldn't have played this game. And if he did say that, I mean, he did say he had a hard out, but I just feel like knowing the length of this game, knowing how we've played games, knowing that I want the game to know when to feel pressured on time, especially for these larger games, I would have said it's either a whole night thing or really been more. He knows Joe is the kind of person who takes a bit longer turns. Yeah, maybe Joe should get a timer, but Lou should have brought that up still, if it's such a hard out. So I'm going to have to give the soft guilty to Lou.
Jonathan?
Yeah, this is a tough one because, as I said before, for me, if someone says they can't, there's a chance they won't be able to finish a game. For me, that's a hard no. We're done already. This conversation is not happening.
Right.
But Everyone at this table in this group heard that warning and agreed to
Right.
it. So, from one angle, you can argue that they all entered into this arrangement ahead of time. They knew there was a chance that maybe the game would end prematurely, and they should have all been okay with that. So it's hard for me. I think I kind of want to put blame on all parties because of that. I think that none of them should have agreed to it if
Well,
there was
I
going to
guess-
be any question.
If you do say, like, let's say I'm Lou and I say I have a hard out, does that mean as a group we should hard no, or should I say, guys, I'm not going because I have the hard out? Who needs to be the first to say no?
I think if you mention, like, let's say there's a group text, and it's for the game night, and it's like, hey guys, I have to be out by 5:00. That's the group.
Yeah, if everyone says that's fine, then yeah, maybe it's on the group. But I also, in my heart of hearts, am saying, but I just don't think Joe should have. If it were me, I mean Lou, sorry. If it were me, I'd be like, no, I just know for a fact for a game that long, I'm either committed 100% or I'm out.
Right.
So it's hard because I think I'm kind of like you. I think I'm a soft guilty because I kind of, on a level of, like, just philosophically, I disagree with these decisions. But it sounds like if everyone in the group is okay with it, then he didn't really do anything wrong.
Right.
But I feel like I must stick to my personal code and be like, I don't condone that behavior in general. So I'm not like I feel very aggressive about it. I don't feel like he's a bad person, but if I gotta come down one way or the other, I think I'm like really soft, not guilty.
Well, you know, the thing is,
I mean, guilty. Sorry, guilty.
with everything you said, because I was taking
I
this Joe
convinced you
v.
back?
Lou.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm still soft guilty, but I'm putting the whole group there.
Right.
I actually think you're right, Jonathan. I think the whole group, because it's the time thing, I think is where the guilt is. It's
Yeah.
not the move. I don't think Joe was being a jerk. I don't think Lou was wrong to lead the game. It was cut. I think the problem is they didn't manage their time well. And Lou said his complaints. I think he should have, like you said, should have been double. But the whole group agreed to it. I think the whole group's soft guilty. I didn't occur to me now, but now that you say that,
I think it's a hard not guilty for me. Because
Okay.
we don't know who hosted this game night.
It's one of the other friends. It might have been Joe. We don't know.
I think
yeah,
if
it's not Lou. We can say that.
if this was
Yeah.
known, and I'm sure I'm taking into account that he said, hey guys, or it's known, like I have to be out at X amount of time, whoever owns the game or whoever is running the game night should be like, has to make that decision. Like Jonathan said, that we can't play this game because we know in times have passed that it's gone over by X amount of hours. So it is really the entire group is guilty of not planning correctly, and by not planning this whole game night correctly, because they've played this game before. They know each other. Like, I know for our game, half of the game in any game that we play is going to be looking in the rulebook. Like, the rulebook comes out more than it should, in my opinion, in a lot of games. But, like, that's fine because we play games so infrequently that we just don't remember the game. They are this kind of group that is like, we've played this game multiple times. We should know how each person is going to play tonight, how this is going to act. So yeah, the game should have never hit the table.
Right.
Right, but here's my question.
Yeah. But you're
saying the
ending
group,
on
because I
guilty.
said this group, and now I'm curious because this may be more how you guys decide for the show. Since Lou's part of the group, if the group is guilty, is Lou guilty?
No. Well, I'm saying
that's
the game.
No, that's why I was like, because I said the group's guilty. So does that mean I'm not guilty?
But I don't think I don't think he did anything wrong. So you guys both said guilty, right? Soft guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not guilty hard, rock hard, not guilty.
But to be clear, I don't think Joe is guilty at all of anything.
Right.
I I feel weird because I feel like the reason I'm saying guilty is the same reason Ivan's saying not guilty. That's why I asked the question of the group. I'm like, because I don't think Lou specifically.
Because I think Jonathan
in his own actions.
Jonathan pushed me more over because when he was saying, "Oh, if I knew this was going to happen, we just wouldn't play the game."
Yeah, no, I agree. Same thing. That's why I
Yeah.
brought up Arkham Horror. Like, if I know this time, it's also weird because I think Jonathan, and I, we seem to be more in charge of the game, so we seem to have more final say.
Well, you host, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
people sometimes bring games, but it's I think if it's just one of those things, like someone would have been like, it comes down to timing, and so that's why
Right,
I'm
it's tricky
still,
too. You know what maybe seals the deal for me on the guilty is because what is the group supposed to say after Lou says I got a heart out? You can't say, "Oh, well then you're not invited."
Well, and that's the other thing too, because like you can't.
You have to let him play because you're an asshole.
And it's
if you
not
say,
even-
"Oh, well then stay home."
Yeah, because it's like you can't stay home because like that's a reasonable like okay after 5 hours I can't be here anymore. Like
So I think he put them in a position of like if they refuse him, they're jerks, and I don't think that's their fault. I think
well,
that
they didn't have to
I think that their
refuse. They
hands
could
were
always
forced.
reschedule.
or play a different
I mean,
game.
that's D&D.
But again, these are like we don't know the circumstances.
Yes.
They have jobs. They have kids. Who knows how hard it is to
Right.
get people together. This could be their like once a month that they can finally get everybody to agree on a position.
But I don't think he put them in this circumstance if he brought this up in advance. Like if he showed up to game night the day of and was
He
like,
did. Yeah.
you know, like that's fine.
It would have been more. Yes, there are things that would have been more obvious. Like if he didn't say anything until the day of, or literally the winning
Right.
move,
So like
then that'd be.
then it's either okay, fine, we're going to start earlier, or like maybe you take your turns quicker.
If mine sticks to
Yeah.
guilty, I actually think of a soft punishment, which maybe will satisfy everyone.
Okay, what's your punishment?
I love that. I love being satisfied.
And
The
especially while
group
soft.
now has to assume every game they play is going to hit 2 times the max play time on Board Game Geek. So they have to assume it's
That's
10
just common
hours.
sense.
They can't do less. And timers.
I think they got to sit down for a game of what's that game? Campaign to Africa.
Oh no!
or Road
Why
to
would you do
Africa?
that? That thing's
is
like I think it has like
30 hours
a
long
week time
or-
play time.
Yeah, it's like 300.
Yeah.
You
It's
throw my
some
thing on
insane-
thing. All right, we got to sit here for a month. I hope you guys brought snacks.
You've got to play it through in one sitting. Nobody's going anywhere.
I'm not going to lie to you. I would love to do a game like that where it's like, okay, we rent a house for a weekend, and it's like this game
Can I-
is like the 24-hour game.
It's
Can I
called
make a
Frosthaven.
prediction? Frosthaven. I'll make a prediction right now about that. You wouldn't love that. I don't think you would.
Well, but if you like,
I think
if you took
by day 2, you would be miserable.
if you took breaks though, like
Yeah,
you can't.
maybe.
Like for me, like I can't. Like for example, when we used to rent out a beach house, or we used to go to a beach house every year, and play
Yeah.
games. You can't make all 24 hours of that gaming. You have to have activities in between it.
You must sleep.
Well, you must sleep. You must have dinner. You must let's go watch a quick movie or something. Like there's activities in between it. But like if we were to do like a whole D&D campaign for 2 days, that would be
Okay.
fun. But like that's the
difference-
the bulk of it.
Yeah.
No, the problem
yeah.
is there, Ivan. When we had the, I'm sorry, but the beach thing
No,
said
no.
like it was a gathering. That's all was described. There'd be like lots of nerd things.
Right.
So it was very open. If I said, "Hey, let's meet up. We're gonna play through the Dragon's Horde campaign setting."
Right.
I'm sort of expecting the entire time to be mostly D&D focused. There may be breaks to walk around and stuff, but I don't want to like just play for 2 hours and be like, "That's enough. Let's go to the boardwalk."
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about people's expectations of the weekend. If it's like you said, to me, when you say a game that lasts multiple days, RPG I feel like is a totally different category.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
thinking of like diplomacy,
Right.
Twilight Imperium, and also a lot of those games tend to be very cutthroat and aggressive and hurt feelings inducing.
Right.
And that's part of why I think you wouldn't have a great time, is because that's what I'm thinking of.
Right.
Is you would be genuinely like imagine Battlestar Galactica but stretched out to a weekend.
I find that interesting because it seems like Ivan and me both thought like campaign games. Like, oh, it'd be fun playing this
yeah.
long story together.
Right.
Jonathan's first thought, oh God, a weekend where I'm looking and thinking that everyone's about to backstab me
But
and
even,
blackmail me.
Like last night, for game night, like if it went over, a game goes over 3 hours, I'm expecting there to be a break.
Oh yeah, no,
that's fair.
That's what I said.
It's pretty fair.
That's why I said like my idea was like there's a difference between a break versus we play a few hours and we go to the board. Like going to the boardwalk usually isn't a break. That's another event.
Well,
A break could be like, oh, we've been playing all day. It's like 7 p.m. Let's get dinner and we're done for the night, as opposed to like, will you take a break? Like you only play for, I don't know. Again, I
like
don't
for
know
me,
what
like
I'm talking
okay,
about
so
anymore. It depends.
if we had
What's
like
this do with Lou and Joe again?
if we had like an
They're guilty.
all-day
Who cares?
game,
Screw them.
I would do like, okay, so it's a 5. Let's say we're playing 12 hours of the game. 2 hours in between it, you go do something else.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Again, so much of this is like dependent on
What
what's
game
the game,
and
where
who
are
people-
we, who's
right.
here.
I think
there's too many factors.
The final thing of this conversation is just that we need to do another long gaming weekend or something.
Well, we do.
We do,
But
I like them.
I'm
They're
busy
fun.
that day.
Me
Me
too.
too. So
I really
punishment, yes, that would be a good punishment. Whatever Willie said,
They have to play some kind of.
They gotta schedule
campaign
better.
game.
or
Be
you can only
something.
play short games. You only play
Munchkin it is.
Paco games for like 4
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, I mean Munchkins can last 4 hours. That's not even.
I don't even remember. We mentioned Munchkin a bunch. I don't remember the last time we played Munchkin, which is probably good.
Good. That's. Good.
I have 4 versions of it.
Well, we gave our very long, elaborate verdicts on this case, but if you're watching or listening at home, we'd like to hear what you think about it. Who do you side with, Lou or Joe or nobody or all of them? Have you ever experienced something like this in a game? Email us, give us your thoughts, geeksontrial@gmail.com. That's also where you can go if you have your own geeky dispute you need settled, whether it be involving board games, video games, comic books, movies, anything of the sort. Send it there or use our handy-dandy form in our episode description. We'd love to hear from you. You'll be on the show.
It's true.
Not you, but your
But
case.
not me.
Not
Oh,
you.
shit. And
Last
if you
episode.
want to give us your hard-earned money so we can keep doing the show and keep making it free to you, head on over to patreon.com/geeksontrial, and just for a few bucks a month, you gain early access to both our audio and our video episodes. Now,
Will-
go ahead. I was going to say the same thing.
There be a place to find you on the internet, Will.
That is true. You can find me at Roll for Crit, YouTube, board game, all the stuff, all your reviews, how to plays, all that. Just YouTube/Roll for Crit. I'd say just all the socials too, but now it's sort of a fun game. Is he on Threads? Is he on Blue Sky? Who knows? Right
Mastodon?
now, not yet, but I should. I mean, Power Rangers. Why am I not on Mastodon yet?
He's right.
Are we gonna get a Sabretooth? T-Rex? We'll finally get the perfect social media when they get the Megazord combiner out.
That's what needs to
Jonathan.
happen. These are all the Voltron parts.
Where can they find you at?
Ivan, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh,
No, you!
I am Ivan Han or
Reverse.
Ivan Arhan on all social medias. Anyone except for, what is that, Blue Sky? Not on that yet. I'm good.
Mastodon, though?
No. Oh, yes, I do have an account, but it's blank. I have a blank
Oh,
account
really?
over at Mastodon.
Is
Yes.
Mastodon not? I haven't even looked at it. That one's not invite only?
It was, and I was invited and then just forgot about it.
Oh, there's also, I think I do have Hive. You remember that? No one talks about that.
Isn't that a
anymore.
dating app?
That's
No, you're thinking
Bumble?
of Bumble
Mm.
or perhaps Hinge.
It's combined. God,
There was a Hive.
they're coming. Where are they coming up with these names for dating apps? Hinge. Like, are you unhinged? Is that why you're using
The
Save
it?
it-
hinge is supposed
save
to
it
be
for
like
your
a
tight
door.
five,
They want you
please.
like leaving, I think. That was their whole
Get out!
shtick.
Anyway, if you want to find my stuff, you can go to jonathanestis.com. I don't know, whatever social media I'm on, you'll find there, along with my newsletter and YouTube videos, so you can have fun there. And I think that's it. Did we cover it all?
That's it.
Well,
All
this
right.
is just
Thanks.
part one.
Yes, part 2 will be coming later on. Thanks for watching or listening to our, most definitely our longest episode.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happens when you throw a third chair in the mix.
And,
Thanks for-
some technical difficulties.
Yeah, and some technical difficulties. We had a good time this week. Just like a board game, it goes longer than you expected
And
to.
I took a break.
Stay tuned next time when we'll be doing the same thing again that we always do every week. You don't want to miss it. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Ivan Han.
And I'm the guest, Will.
This has
It's
been-
not a. It's not a way.
this is Geeks on Trial.